The champion of the Pokemon world, our boy Ash Ketchum. This man has had a hell of a lot of battles over the years, and for some reason I decided to go through every single one of them and determine what was actually Ash's longest win streak. So I want to be taking you through region by region and seeing what comes out as the longest. But first up, there are some rules, starting with an obvious one. Team Rocket battles don't count. I'm only including battles where the trainer or trainers have agreed to battle, and there's not a bunch of shenanigans where every Pokemon is getting involved. Next, no off-screen or montage through battles count, because I think that's just lazy. Also, I'm going to say that draws don't count to the streak, but they also don't end the winning streak because there is so many damn battles that just don't finish, so the streak would just be interrupted so many times. So it's really an unbeaten streak rather than a winning streak, but that wouldn't have sounded as cool. And finally, wild Pokemon battles of course don't count, it's just trainer on trainer battles. Also, double battles count, and all combat tournaments such as Pokemon Sumo or stuff like the Tauros competition or Battle Royals, basically all of that stuff counts. But with all that being said, let's get into the battles. So starting with Kanto, we had a very slow start in the battling department. We know that Ash got gifted a bunch of badges early on for many wacky and weird reasons. And we don't see Ash actually get his first on-screen victory until episode 8, where he takes down a random trainer and his Rattata. Bearing in mind at this point he has 2 badges and only 1 on-screen win. He doesn't really pick up any momentum until episode 24, where technically he defeats Sabrina in a gym battle because she can no longer battle, so it counts as a forfeit and a victory for Ash. He goes on a bit of a streak here, not finishing his battle with Erica, beating Team Rocket in the P1 Grand Prix tournament, taking down Aya and Koga at the Fuchsia Gym, and then taking down one of the bike gang on Cycling Road. However, this streak comes to an end against Duplica, who overwhelms Ash with her imitations, leading to Ash forfeiting, ending Ash's 6-win streak. That wasn't the longest in Kanto though, as his actual longest streak starts against Blaine in episode 59, the famous Charizard on Magmar clash atop the volcano. He takes down Team Rocket for his 8th gym badge, Otoshi before the league, Mandy at his first ever league victory, a random trainer, Pete Pebbleman, and then an impressive victory over Jeanette and her Bellsprout. But this streak ends in humiliating defeat against Richie, where his Charizard refuses to listen. However, this is the longest streak in Kanto, coming in at 7 wins and 21 episodes. Moving on to the Orange Islands, and despite winning the thing, Ash didn't really do much battling here, especially since a few of the gyms were just unique challenges rather than actual Pokemon battles. His first win in the Orange Island is weirdly an episode where he's bragging about how much he's winning. He takes down a couple of random trainers before getting beaten badly by the Elite Four's Lorelei. He does pick up a bit of steam after Charizard finally starts obeying him, taking down Tad, Luana, and of course the champion of the Orange League, Drake. But this being only 3 wins and 12 episodes before getting destroyed by Gary and his Eevee back at Oak's lab. Moving swiftly onto the Johto region, this was such a massive upgrade for Ash and his battles. He had various pretty long streaks here and actually found himself picking up some massive and well-deserved wins. And we didn't have to wait long because we saw him completely crush newcomer Casey quite early on in Johto. And actually we're going straight into his longest Johto streak right after this, because after taking a loss from Rochelle and her Donphan, Ash arrives at the Violet Gym to take on Faulkner, and he wins in a really great battle, starting his longest Johto winning streak. He beats Mary and her Mareep, Shingo and his Scizor, Koji and his Sandslash. He takes down Bugsy for his 2nd gym badge, wins the Tauros competition battle against Fernando, beats Misty to earn himself a Totodile. He did have a close call with Mickey, but luckily for him, Team Rocket interrupted their first battle, and then he does some training with Cyndaquil and takes her Skarmory down in their 2nd battle. And then finally he takes down Cherry and her Girafarig, but this streak comes to an end by the hands of Whitney and her rolling Miltank. It just had to be. So for this streak, Ash won 9 battles in a row in the space of 20 episodes. But note, this wasn't the longest episode run for Johto, but 9 wins in a row was the longest win streak. So it depends if you want to count by episode or by battles themselves, but I'm going to be doing both. And finally, after overcoming Whitney, Ash has some good wins, but his next big real streak begins after he takes down Morty in episode 182. He goes on to take down a Kimono sister, Jessie in a rare official battle to win back some Firestones, a random trainer along with Raiden in the Pokemon Sumo competition, Chuck at the Seawood Gym, another random trainer for the World Cup prelims, and then Christopher and his Kingdra in the World Cup as well. This streak comes to an end in the World Cup second round where Misty takes down Ash. If someone had to end this one, then who better than Misty? Not the first time today that we'll be saying that. So this streak was one short of the last one being 8 wins, however this was 36 episodes, beating out the previous of 20. So we have 2 different streaks for Johto, one having 9 battles and one having 36 episodes. After this, Ash doesn't really put together any huge run. He starts losing a few battles that maybe he shouldn't be, like against Satchel and his Magby just before the league, Dorian at the Underwater Gym, and even James at the Battle Park. But most importantly, he heads to the Johto League where he finally gets the better of his childhood rival Gary in a fantastic battle. But then he ends off Johto in defeat to Harrison and his Blaziken. Moving on to Hoenn and the Battle Frontier, and my god, this was such a frustrating series to go through. The amount of battles in the Advanced Generation that just don't finish or get interrupted is ridiculous. Ash's first battle in Hoenn is against Norman, who he doesn't have enough Pokemon to battle, so they have a little exhibition type battle where Vigoroth takes down Pikachu. Not the best start for Ashy Boy. His first actual win is, surprise surprise, a random trainer, and this was where the shenanigans start as he battles Nikolai the Knickerbocker and they don't finish. He battles Anthony in episode 10, who has a Pelipper with a bunch of other Pokemon in its mouth, so that battle was just basically out the window. You can see where this series is going. But there is a lot of this kind of thing, so I won't go over it all. His first semi-decent run was after taking down Shauna, Brawly's apprentice on Dewford. He also takes down Brawly himself in the gym rematch, and then Marius and his Spheal, and then this run ending with Watson and the overcharged Pikachu sweep. So just a little 4 battle run. It was better than nothing before being beaten by Natasha and her bullet seeding Grooval. But hey, at least Ash picked up a new move from her. And after this, there is just a lot more shenanigans. Ash really never gets going in this region. He does pick up massive wins, but usually follows it up with a loss, like after beating Flannery, he goes and loses to Watson in the rematch, and then a dude named Poncho and his Ludicolo. However, things do start to pick up after Ash beats Winona in episode 85 to get his 6th gym badge. He has a no result against Brock, beats a dude called Rocky, has 2 battles with Tate and Liza, one of them being interrupted and the other him winning with the legendary Thunder Armor. A solid 15 episodes, but really only 3 wins here. But finally, let's get to the longest streak in the Advanced Generation. It starts with episode 111, where Ash gets his 8th gym badge, taking down a 1. And really, this was just a league run for Ash here. After a draw with Morrison and Beldam, he takes down Gilbert and his Hitmonlee in his first Hoenn League battle, Dominic and Clark in double battles, and then he really has a great battle with Katie in his first Hoenn 6-on-6. And then of course he takes down his friend and rival Morrison as well, with this run ending to Tyson in the Hoenn League quarterfinals. But this run consisted of 6 wins and 19 episodes, so not really in any sort of competition to take down the Johto run for now. The Battle Frontier, we don't really have any big streaks either, his highest being 3 on 2 separate occasions, one of them just being a Frontier Brain sweep of Tucker, Lucy and Spencer. I mean, it's pretty unfortunate because Ash lost to this old woman in episode 152 and her Vaporeon, otherwise it probably would have been up there as one of his best. But he didn't seem to have as many in-between battles in the Battle Frontier because they were also doing maze contests and trying to fit in quite a lot. The Advanced Generation comes to a close with Ash beating Brandon, but the final battle once again is a good old schooling from Gary back in Pallet Town. So the best Hoenn run by far was 1 up until his loss against Tyson. And then on to Sinnoh, and I gotta say I was pretty surprised with this one. I expected Ash to be pretty unbeatable at points. He gets off to a shaky start drawing with Paul, beating Nando and then losing to Paul straight after. Safe to say Paul is going to be the guy to show up and pretty much break all of these streaks. His first actual best run started after he took down Gardenia in episode 37. He went on to beat Dawn, 2 random trainer pairs in the doubles battle tournament alongside Paul, Brock and Holly in that same tournament, and then of course Dawn and Conway in the finals to win the whole thing, despite being paired up with his arch nemesis and rival. And despite these being double battles, they still count as wins. He also had a few battles where he didn't finish against Alan and against Kenny. He heads to Paul's hometown and beats Reggie in a 3-on-3 to make it 8 wins in a row. But after a draw with Maylene, this unbeaten run is ended by Sho and his fierce Raichu. Ash of course goes on to overcome him in a really great episode, but it was unfortunate that this run had to end here. After this, Ash never really picked up a big run. He had a solid run of gym battles beating Fantina, Byron and Candice, all back to back with Barry thrown in there as well, but he didn't have that many battles in between, so the numbers never got high enough. And of course Paul was always around every corner to put a stop to any streak that Ash was building up, including that massive 6-on-6 battle that they had. He picks up a little momentum in the league of course as he beats Nando, a random trainer, Conway, and then finally overcomes Paul, earning his respect. But again, that run is ended by the cheat that is Tobias. So although Sinnoh had some really great feats, it just didn't get the win streak going that much for Ash, with 8 wins being the most, still leaving Johto out in front with 9. However, something Sinnoh did take is the episode count record, overtaking Johto's 36 episodes with its own whopping 39 episodes, which was on the same run, starting with Gardenia and ending with Sho. And next we are moving on to Unova, where we know Ash didn't have the best of starts, with losses to the likes of Trip, Cress, Trip again, and Lenora. He does get quite a few wins in between his various losses in Unova, and a fair few solid ones against rivals like Stefan, Georgia, Burgundy. The battle tournaments did wonders for Unova and were such a fantastic concept. Even just the one-off Battle Club episodes were great. These helped Ash increase his battles and pick up some big wins throughout the region. Coming towards the back end of Unova, he has 2 pretty solid runs, one of them starting with his 5th gym battle against Clay, taking down Bianca and Juniper in a double battle with Silent, taking down Skylar for his 6th badge, and then beating Angus and Betty in the Club Explosion. But that ended with a loss to Montgomery in that same tournament, which was a shame because this would have been a great record if he won that tournament. But Ash doesn't let that get him down because he goes on to pick up his best run in Unova, starting with Seamus, the scumbag who abandoned Tepig, and then he gets his final 2 badges against Bryson and Roxy. He has a draw with Dawn where she returns, takes down Maris and Geraldo in the Junior Cup, and then gets his 6th win in a row in that incredible battle with Iris in the Junior Cup as well, where his Krokorok evolves into Crocodile. But of course Trip has to come and end this run because he can't let Ash have any fun, can he? After this we get the Unova League run with Ash getting his revenge on Trip, taking down Stefan, but ultimately losing to Cameron. And for the first time in this video since the series didn't end on a league run, Ash actually ends Unova with a 3 win streak, taking down Teak, Cadbury and Rodney in the Decalor Islands. So going into Kalos, our boy is looking good. Let's hope he doesn't get beat by the first gym leader or anything. But for Unova, the best run was 6 wins, starting with Seamus, ending with his loss to Trip, which worked out at 16 episodes, which was the longest episode count too. So compared to other regions, he was close, but a few losses in between really let his streak down here. Alright, so Kalos was real interesting. Ash started here with a battle against Clement, which of course got interrupted by Team Rocket. But that Unova streak we were talking about that carried over, well, yeah, that's gone because he loses to Viola. Ash actually starts Kalos pretty slow, taking losses to Penelope and her Sylveon, and also Sampai and his Frogadier. I also noticed there were less random trainer battles in this series. They preferred to focus on the main events, which you can't blame them because they had some fantastic battles. After taking another loss to Karina in an unofficial battle, it was time for an incredible victory streak. Strap in because our boy was cooking here throughout the middle of X and Y. It all starts in episode 36 where he wins a sky battle against Moria and her Talonflame. and then he goes on to win a triple battle with Clemont and Serena against Trevor, Shauna and Tierno. He then goes on to take down back-to-back gym leaders in Karina and Ramos, a nice little training battle victory against Tierno with his newly evolved Gudra, his 5th gym badge victory against Clemont in an incredible battle. He does get a battle that didn't finish against Sawyer, but he was looking on for the win there as well. But after this he takes down his 6th gym leader Valerie, so a lot of the gym leaders included are in this run. Finally he gets to finish a battle with Sawyer where he snags the win. He beats Trevor and his Charmeleon, he takes down Olympia for his 7th badge, beats James and Miette at the showcase party double battle alongside Serena, beats Sawyer one more time for good measure, and then finally at long last our boy loses, and it only had to be to one guy, Alan, in episode 106. Their first battle ends in Ash's defeat, and it ends this crazy huge streak, the longest streak so far, overtaking Johto's 9 wins with a whopping 13 wins, and even more 70 episodes. Insane stuff from our boy. You can tell why people say he wasn't messing around in Kalos. There is a slight caveat, as the battle with Tierno in episode 39, technically Tierno is declared the winner by the ref, but it is a bit dodgy, and even Bulbapedia doesn't count this as an Ash loss, so I refuse to as well. However, after Alan, this starts a bit of a rut for Ash as he struggles to control his new Greninja form, in the process taking another loss to Alan, Diantha, and even Sawyer takes a win from him. And then of course it all comes full circle in the Snowbelt arc where he loses to Wulfric before reassessing and mastering the form. A nice little 5 win streak after beating Wulfric. He takes down Everett, Titus, Astrid and of course Sawyer. And again this was all ended by Alan. And then Ash finishes up with 2 battles that don't finish against both Serena and Clemont. Pretty fitting, but it's crazy to me that we had to wait all the way from Johto to Kalos for Ash to get more than 9 wins in a row. Kalos cut out the fluff, made Ash a powerhouse and stopped him losing silly battles mid-region. And as we move on to Alola and Journeys, I can only imagine it's going to get even more crazier. Time for some fun in the sun as Ash heads to Alola, and you can tell the difference right away. There is hardly any battles here. Even the random trainer battles are just completely gone most of the time, with Ash's first proper battle coming in episode 8 against Lily's butler Hobbs, where Ash actually loses with Rowlet, getting taken out just enough time before Mallow interrupts. But after this, Ash gets going, beating his first grand trial, taking down Hala, beating a random trainer with his Z move in episode 19, having a battle with Gladion that gets interrupted by Team Rocket, and then taking down Olivia for his second grand trial and a triumphant return to Kanto as he takes down Misty in a really great battle. And then this actually shocked me a bit, but Ash goes on quite the losing streak here. He loses to Gladion in episode 47, he loses to Kukui twice in episode 63, once in a battle royal and another in a one-on-one, and then of course loses to Nanu in the pre-trial, making 4 straight losses for the boy. And it continues to be a bit up and down. He beats Nanu, he loses to Hao, but then he eventually beats Hao in the same episode. He has a battle with Guzma that doesn't finish, so no real massive streaks in Alola so far. That is until we find his longest run, and well, we all know which run this is. It starts with Hapu in episode 109, his 4th and final trial. He heads over to the Cantonian gym and takes on Ryuki. He beats various trainers in the Battle Royal 151, which I've decided just to count as one victory, the accomplishment of surviving to the next round. And then the league begins where he takes out Faber, Hao, Guzma and of course Gladion in the final to be crowned the champion of Alola. But you know it doesn't stop there, as he takes down Kukui in a full 6-on-6 in one of the best battles in the entire franchise. Our boy was cooking in Alola and it was something special. And to wrap up Alola, he also beat Kiawe in episode 145, and his win streak actually carries on into Pokémon Journeys, so I can't give a longest streak because the streak is still going. But Ash in Alola was pretty damn solid. Obviously the final run was the longest. I didn't realise how much he actually lost in the middle sections, but he picked up steam when it mattered and became the first ever Alola champion. But now on to Pokémon Journeys, where Ash starts off with a victory against Hodge in episode 7 at the Flute Cup. But then this streak comes to an end as he faces down the literal world champion Leon and gets beat in this practice sort of battle, but still a battle is a battle, and Ash takes the L here, ending this streak with 10 wins and 55 episodes, carrying on all the way from episode 109 of Sun and Moon, where he took down Hapu. A pretty impressive run, but as we know, it's not the longest. Kalos still holds the crown with 13 wins and 70 episodes. Can Journeys one up that? Well, let's find out. And I mean, early on, Ash was picking up quite the streak already as he entered the Pokemon World Championships. He took down Visquez, Oliver, Hayden, Karina, Tony and Kylie. An impressive 6 back-to-back wins in a short amount of time. Unfortunately though, this all had to come to the end by the menacing B, who defeated Ash and hit his confidence a bit here as he lost 3 battles in a row. And the middle section of Journeys was pretty weird for Ash. He was kind of finding his feet a little bit. He takes down Dozer, but straight after gets destroyed by Rinto, which led to a really cool rematch in episode 60 where Ash defeated Rinto. And keep that battle in mind because this was the start of an incredible win streak for Ash. After this, he takes a trip to the Opelousas gym and takes on Iris in a fantastic Pokemon World Championship battle. And then the boy was just steamrolling. He takes out Volkner to make it into the Ultra class. He has a battle that didn't finish with Opal. He takes down B in their climactic third and final battle. He takes down Marnie swiftly in a short but sweet battle. Gets a Colossus matchup with an Elite Four member Drasna and manages to overcome her, really taking down some big names here, including former champion Wallace in a pretty annoying, mostly off-screen battle, but a win is a win. And then he gains entry into the Masters 8 tournament by taking down Raihan. What a damn run this is already, and it only gets crazier. He heads back to Alola where he has a battle royal with Gladion, Kiawe and Kukui, and unfortunately the winner of this battle wasn't shown, so I can't count it. And you'll see by the end that this would have been huge to count the tally. However, Paul does hop over to Pallet Town for some special training, and Ash manages to take down his fiercest rival just in time to prepare for the Masters 8. And the tournament begins where Ash opens up against Steven Stone. Not the matchup most of us wanted, but Pikachu the Metagross Slayer returns and gives Ash victory, sending him to face Cynthia in the semi-finals in an epic 6-on-6 clash, finally beating the Sinnoh champ, a battle many of us have wanted for so many years, giving Ash a title match with Leon in the final. And I don't think we need to say much about this one. Ash becomes champion and dethrones Leon, his last on-screen win in the Pokemon anime, but not his last battle however. As you might remember, he had a little battle with Misty in Aim to be a Pokemon Master, where Corphish lost to Misty's Politoed. And yes, this was Ash's last ever battle, meaning Ash finished his journey with a loss, which was a bit of a shame. Misty doing what she did back at the World Cup again here, but the tally for that final run was 12 wins and 74 episodes, meaning a new record for the episodes, beating out 70 episodes in the XY series. But if we go just by wins, then XY still holds the record with 13 wins. If only Ash would have been shown to be winning that battle royal in Alola and then beat Misty in the final battle, we would have had 14 wins and a new record. But I think it just shows how strong XY Ash was, with them 13 wins in a row. And he does benefit from having more on-screen battles, more training battles, whereas most of Ash's Journeys battles were Pokemon World Championship battles, since they had less time for the least important battles. And of course we've got to bear in mind the opponents that Ash was taking down in that final Journeys run. The likes of Raihan, Drasna, Cynthia, Leon, just crazy feats all around, and probably is his best run overall, but it didn't quite make it as statistically the longest run. But there we have it, Ash's longest win streak is 13 wins in a row, and his longest episode streak is 74 episodes. Now let's just hope I didn't miss anything to completely ruin the whole video, but I'm sure you will all let me know if I did. But I hope you enjoyed this one, it was super fun to make. Be sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and I'll see you next time.